What's up, guys, and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about South Carolina transfer, Spencer Rattler and Austin Stoger coming in. And I know I haven't made a video in a while, sorry guys, but let's get to it. Alright, so Spencer Rattler coming from Oklahoma. He was the #1 recruit. He was #1 quarterback in the class of 2019 coming out of high school, and he chose Oklahoma. And his first year, he was behind Jalen Hurts. He's 6'1", 200 pounds. He's from his hometown, Phoenix, Arizona. In 2019, he was backup for Jalen Hurts. He had some playing time, but not much. He had 7 completions, 11 attempts, and 81 yards for 1 touchdown and 0 interceptions. And rushing in 2019, he had 3 attempts, 23 yards, and a 7.7 yards average, and 0 TDs. So not a bad first season, but under Jalen Hurts, because Jalen Hurts is a stud. And in 2020, he got the starting role, and he had 214 completions for 317 yards. He had 3,031 yards for 28 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. So he didn't have a bad year in 2020, and he had 81 rushing attempts for 160 yards, a 2-yard average, and 6 touchdowns. So not a bad year for his first year as head starter. And he came into the 2021 season as a Heisman favorite, and he got replaced with Caleb Williams throughout the season. And his 2021 season career stats was 140 completions for 187 attempts for 1,483 yards, 11 TDs, and 5 interceptions. So not a bad season, but he didn't have the greatest season for what he came into the season as the Heisman favorite. So his career in 2021 rushing is 43 rushing attempts for 260 yards, a 2-yard average, and 1.8 yard average, and 3 TDs. So it wasn't a great season, but it wasn't a bad season. But Caleb Williams he didn't, for what his expectations were for the season, he just didn't have a great season. The fans weren't behind him really after the first couple games. They were chanting, "We want Caleb on." So not really that great. But his career stats so far in college football is 361 completions for 515 yards, 4,595 yards, 40 touchdowns, and 12 interceptions, and 127 rushing attempts for 260 yards, a 2-yard average, and 9 touchdowns. So really not a bad thing. So he really didn't have that bad of a career so far. For a Carolina quarterback, that's amazing. And he's coming into, and he has 3 years of eligibility left. I don't think he'll stay that long. And if he leaves after 1 season, that means we had a great season. That means his draft stock's all the way back up in the first round, high first round, and that means he had a good season next year. And I really like Spencer Rattler. Carolina has, in the past couple years, we needed a quarterback that's not scared to run. Luke Doty, I mean, he can run, but he's not a great. We need someone who can run and pass. Luke Doty's not the greatest passer. Don't get me wrong. I love Luke Doty. I think he's really talented, but I think Spencer Rattler is just going to be the next level. He's going to bring this Carolina team to the next level, and I really do think that he could get back that hype that he had last season. I think he could be maybe not Heisman favorite, but if he plays well in the SEC with the SEC, how the SEC defenses are, he could be a first round draft pick, early top first round next year if he plays a really good season. Now, do I think he's gonna leave after 1 season? I don't know. If he has a real good season, he is. But if he stays 2 years, and I think this South Carolina team is rallying right now. Shane Beamer's building something real great. 16th in recruiting right now as I make this video on December 12th, 2021. We're right behind Clemson in the recruiting rankings, and we just gained 2 linebackers this past weekend, 4 stars. We're just rallying and recruiting. Signing day's tomorrow, and the early signing period, and I think Carolina can really rally into this offseason with Spencer Rattler coming in, other wide receivers that are transferring. I'm like, oh, Spencer Rattler's going to Carolina. I want to go play with Spencer Rattler because I think he's really elite quarterback. He just didn't have a great season this year. All right, let's move on to Austin Stoger. I think that's right. He's 6'6", 251 pounds. He's from Plano, Texas, and he's a junior. I think he only has 1 or 2 more years of eligibility left. In 2019, he didn't have the biggest season. He had 7 receptions, 66 yards, 9.4 yards average, and 2 TDs. That's not a bad first season as a freshman coming in. And then in 2020, he had 26 receptions for 422 yards, 16.2 yards average, and 3 TDs. Not bad at all. Then 2021, this season, he didn't have the biggest season. He really didn't. I think he had some injuries this season. I don't know. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments. But he came in with 14. He's at the end of the season, 14 receptions, 166 yards, 11.9 yards average, and 3 TDs. His career is 47 receptions for 654 yards, 13.9 yards average, and 8 TDs. So not a bad career for Austin, the tight end, coming to South Carolina. I think that, from what I've heard, is that they didn't give him the ball enough. And with tight ends, sometimes that's the truth, because I feel like this year we weren't throwing to the tight ends good enough to make Nick Muse as much this year. But we didn't have a quarterback this year. I think tight ends are really important thing to your offense, especially if I think also he could come in and run. And he has a run. He could block and he could go receive. I think he will be a big addition to this offense, and I think Shane Beamer. Well, I know Shane Beamer being at Oklahoma the past couple years before he came to Carolina had a big effect on him and Spencer Rattler coming here because they had the relationship, and Shane Beamer, and people are gonna young recruits are coming, not just the 2022 recruiting class, the 2023 and 2024 recruiting class, and is like, wow, Shane Beamer got Spencer Rattler, the #1 quarterback in 2019, coming out of high school, and a really good tight end from Oklahoma to come all the way from South Carolina when they could have gone to a lot of teams, and a lot of teams would have taken them. But I think Shane Beamer's rallying right now. I think this is just starting this Carolina. This week is just starting the Carolina 2022 recruiting class. I think next year we're going to be our offense will be a lot more stable than this year, and our defense is just going to be top level. Our defense, we have our linebacker position this year wasn't the best, but now we have two 4-stars coming in. The 108th best player in the recruiting, top 108th player in high school coming out this year. And I think Carolina's defense is going to be nasty and tear up their opponent's offense. And I'm just ready to see it for next season. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching. Click right here to subscribe, and click right here to watch the last video. I'll see y'all next time.